of someone who has been on camera more than one time, right? Yeah, incredible, incredible. So we're going back to sabotage cycles, right? We're going back to sabotage cycles. And you notice I put in some numbers just for reference. So in our 12 o'clock point in the sabotage cycle, we're right at the top of the cycle. We're feeling great. We're on top of the world. The things are running about like they should be, right? I feel great, I'm moving forward. 3 o'clock, I'm barely hanging on. Then we're into free fall, right around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I'm being crushed, right? I'm at the bottom of my cycle. I'm totally overwhelmed. By 9 o'clock, I'm climbing out and I'm making that journey back to the top. So, who's interested in learning how to shorten the time that they're in the sabotage cycle, right? The impact of this is huge. Like I drew out earlier, every time, even if you just did that, you would radically shorten the amount of time that you're spending away from being in production. And with every little bit of practice, you can really make this teeny tiny. It is possible to completely eliminate a sabotage cycle, and that is probably beyond the scope of what we're going to be talking about during the next couple of days. Okay, it'd be a lot of training. But in terms of shortening it, there's a technique that's super simple that works really, really consistently for shortening sabotage cycles. And I remember a few years back, I was working with a woman that was working on, she had a relationship issue, and she had a massive sabotage cycle. When she and her husband got in a fight, she would actually leave the house for days at a time. Yeah, and then it would take like 9 months for the relationship to work its way all the way back up to the top. And then she'd run through the cycle so many times that the relationship was now on the point of complete separation. So I don't care if we're talking about business, if we're talking about relationships, if we're talking about your finances, if you're talking about any area of life, your health, these cycles happen, and learning to shorten them is one of the most powerful ways to keep your progress moving forward. Imagine if the sabotage cycle that keeps you from being in your top production mode shortened from a month to 2 weeks. What would the financial impact be to get you back into production, back into movement? Who would benefit from something like that? Okay, awesome. Now, if you're at home, you are going to want to take very careful notes. If you are here, I'm going to demonstrate this with one person. And I'm either going to walk them through half the process now and the rest of the process later, or the whole process now, depending on how quickly it goes. But as I'm helping the person map it out, I want everyone to pull out a piece of paper and map out their own cycle. And you're going to map it out by 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock at least. And there may be some points in between. Okay, does that sound good? So paper out. Now, you're not going to need to share what your sabotage cycle is about, but you will need to tell us a little bit about the emotional states that are attached to it. Because when we go into sabotage, are there emotional states attached to the sabotage cycle? Yes, right? And it might be something like procrastination, or I feel lazy, or I feel overwhelmed. But there's going to be emotional states. So you will need to share your emotional state. You will not need to share the content of what's going on in the cycle itself. So with that, who would like to have an interesting experience? Oh, we had a hand come up there first. I think you're our lucky winner here. Okay?
Marcy, did you do the mic run?
Okay, we're going to need one mic for her, and I'm going to need somebody to tear up a little bit of the fight song, and I apologize to Rachel Platten. We love your song. Everybody buy your song. It's awesome. Okay, and obviously we don't want to rip this up. Okay, I need somebody you have seen spatial floor anchors. Yes, just like little place markers. If you could rip me up like about 8 of them or so, that'd be awesome. So first thing that we want to do is we just want to get permission. So are you okay? Again, I want absolutely zero content about what you're doing, but I want to know if it's okay if we talk a little bit about the states that are connected to the sabotage cycle, so that everyone here in the room and everybody at the home audience can learn from your experience.
Absolutely.
Okay? And while we're helping her identify her states, I want you to be thinking about yours internally. Now, in NLP, when we talk about modeling, who's done a little bit of modeling training? Raise your hand if you've had a little bit, okay? In modeling, one of the keys is that you must associate them into state. We say a cook that's out of the kitchen, no good, right? It'd be like modeling someone about their business when they're thinking about their laundry, right? It doesn't make any sense at all. So we're going to have to put her right into a sabotage cycle. The easiest way to do that is to help associate her, or to help her think about a time recently, a specific context where she did self-sabotage. So can you think of a time when you did your self-sabotage pattern, the one that you want to work through?
Yes.
Yes. And tell me a little bit about how long ago it happened.
2 days ago.
Okay, so it happened relatively recently. And how long did it take you to come out of the sabotage cycle?
Probably 15 hours.
Okay, so it took you a full 15 hours, which already is a relatively short cycle, right? We have some cycles that last months, weeks, or days, right? But we're still going to work with this because this is a good example. So in this particular example that you have in your mind, did it have a beginning, a middle, and an end? Did you come out of it?
Yes.
Yeah, so you're out of it. And can you think of a second example of this same sabotage pattern in case we need to come back to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that was like a very congruent yes. Now in the audience, do you guys also have a very concrete, very specific example? So let me define what a concrete example looks like. It's like a concrete example has a date, a time when it began, a time when it had a middle, a time when it had an end, right? Like saying, oh, I always do this, or this is generally what happens. That is not specific, and it will not do for modeling. Does that make sense? Raise your hand if that makes sense. Yeah. So when you're modeling, you actually want to associate them into a specific context. That means if I was doing modeling like on somebody's Facebook strategy, for example, and I was modeling out one key piece of what they were doing, I would want them to think about a very specific ad, for example, that they had placed, rather than modeling out like generally what they do in most contexts. Does that make sense? We're going to get cleaner information if we do state-specific modeling. So with that, what I want you to do is I want you to remember when you were at the 12 o'clock position, okay? So I want you to rewind your mental movie. This is the first one that you brought up that happened just a couple of days ago. And I want you to rewind your mental movie long enough that you come to the point when you were like top of the world, things were going well, you were like blazing the trail and looking forward, right? You're doing really well, right? You got it, okay?
Yes.
Did everybody see that we got it? Okay, so step right into that state and tell me what are the name of the emotional states that are there?
Powerful.
Powerful, okay? So we're going to write powerful. Okay, any other words that come to mind?
Excited.
Excited? If you were to give us a metaphor to describe what it's like when you're powerful and excited, what's that like?
I don't know, just like striding, going for it.
You're like
Yeah.
going for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to put a couple words here. These are metaphor words, striding. They're anchor words. She also gave us a gesture. What was the gesture she gave us? Yeah. Right? So she's striding, right?
Yes.
Do that again. I'm striding.
I'm striding.
Yeah, okay, right? You see her light right up. So this is a naturalistic anchor. We don't have to go looking for it. She's given it to us, right? And when you're anchoring, the most clever way to get an anchor is to capture it, right? So we're on the hunt for the wild anchor. Okay, so striding, and what was the other word you used?
Going for it.
Going for it, right? Now, these specific phrases are also going to be anchors. So you might think about, what am I saying to myself in my head as I'm doing this? Or what's a metaphor? Like some people be like, I'm a bear, right? I'm a bear that's just like plowing through its prey. I don't know, whatever you're going to say, right? Like, something random. I don't know where that came from, right? But like, so you might think of it. So I'm going to ask you, if there was an animal that represented, I probably polluted this process a little bit, right? Okay. If there was an animal that's not a bear that represented this state, what would it be?
Dare I say panther?
Panther! Okay, good. Okay, I love it. Okay, I love it. Okay? I love the emotional response, right? So we're getting her right there. So now, before we come back, we're going to do something very specific here in just a minute, but let's pop around to the 3 o'clock position, right? So, okay, right? So you put yourself there first, okay? So in that 15 hours, about what time? How long was it into the cycle that you found yourself into that?
Probably 2 or 3 hours.
Okay, so 2 or 3 hours, mm-hmm. You're right at the 3 o'clock position. Mm-hmm. 3 o'clock is like when you're like, what? What was the emotional state?
Just panicky.
Panicky?
Anxious.
Okay, so we're going to say panicky and anxious. Okay, so
frustrated.
Frustrated. Panicky, anxious, and frustrated. And she gave us a gesture. What was the gesture? She was spinning it like that, right? And she was spinning it on her left side, not on her right side.
Well, I'm left-handed, so maybe that's
when
why.
You're holding the mic too, right? Now, I'm curious. What's this sensation like? So we know that it's panic, but what's this?
trying to get it out, trying to attach my power to it to deal with it. You know,
okay, so you're trying to
find
attach
it,
your power to it, and
trying to identify it.
And to identify it. And notice that she's explaining it. It's like getting larger, right? So we have a pretty solid gestural anchor for that particular process. So inside, you have this going on, but
Turmoil.
sensationally, what's going on? What are the sensations like?
Well, it's like butterflies in my chest. It's just discomfort and disorientation almost.
Butterflies and disorientation. So we already have our animal. We don't even have to go look for it, right? Yeah, we've got butterflies. No wonder this is what butterflies do, right? You know, they make that kind of feeling, right? Yeah, and every time we're doing it, it's firing off. So I mean, this is working, right? So we've got the right state. So now, are you guys following along, and do you have your states for 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock? Okay? You're struggling with that a little bit? Okay? Who else is struggling with it a little bit? Okay? Okay, you're either having a problem, either you're not associated to a specific context or I'm moving too fast, right? Which is it? Am I moving pretty quick? Okay, so for the audience and also for at home, we're going to slow this down for them. Is that all right? Everybody, close your eyes for just a minute. And step back in time. Step back to the last time when you had your sabotage cycle. And then rewind the movie back before the sabotage began. And then step right into your 12 o'clock position. And be there. Take as long as you need and notice what are the emotional states that are there. And when you've got that, go ahead and open up your eyes and make eye contact with me. And I assume in a large audience there'll be a couple that'll still have a hard time with it, but most of you will get it. Okay? Okay? Good. And at home, please play along. Okay? Good. All right, that's most of the room. So we're gonna move on. So raise your hand if you got an emotional state. Okay, so that was slow enough. Okay, I'm moving quick. I can move quick with people because we're calibrating by body language. Okay, you got yours? Okay, cool. So now everyone, go ahead and shake that off for a minute. And I want you to write it down. Write down the words there that are associated with that, and also write down an animal. Okay, animal or a symbol or a metaphor of some kind. Okay, let me know when you got it. And don't overthink it. Just go right there, and then make eye contact with me. And we'll go when we got about 80% of the room. Okay, that's about 80%. So good. So now, everyone, you want to step out of that. You want to go forward in the movie. You want to go forward in time, and you want to step into this place where things were just about ready to fall apart. You're in your 3 o'clock position, and just step right into 3 o'clock. Be there. Remember what was happening. Remember what you felt like. And remember what was going on inside of your body. And notice what was the emotional state that was there. Okay, and when you've got that, make eye contact with me, or give me a little head nod if your eyes are already open. Okay, good. We'll go when we got about 80% of the room. Okay. Okay. Good. That's most of you, right? So again, at home, play along now. Write down what's the emotional state. What do you got going on there? And then pick a symbol, a metaphor, or an image that represents it, because we're going to use those here in a minute. And Mike, thanks for getting me the spatial anchors all worked out. Appreciate that, man. Okay? All right. Everybody with me now? Raise your hand if you're with me. Okay, so we got most of the audience. That's good enough. If you're still struggling with it, we can work on it later. Every once in a while, we get somebody who has a hard time reading their emotional states. That's pretty normal, right? In a big group, if you're one of the ones at home, that's okay. Doesn't mean that something's wrong. It just means that we might need to change the process a little bit for you. Okay? For most of you, this should work. So now let's go down to the 6 o'clock position. This is like after everything has completely collapsed. Right? And you've been through your free fall experience, and it's like, ugh, like almost that moment when you're tempted to give up. Right? And just go ahead and go right there. Okay? Step into that. Let yourself feel it for a moment. We want to actually light up that part of the brain. Have you got it? Okay, now give me some emotion words. We'll come back for the audience here. So give me some emotion words to describe it.
Defeated, futile.
Okay, give me a metaphor that describes that.
Well, like flattened, being like flattened by a Mack truck kind of thing.
Flattened by a Mack truck. Instead of an, we've had an animal theme. For you, let's do an animal. We could use this flattened metaphor, but what's an animal that might represent this space?
Lower than a snake's belly in a wagon rut.
Okay, so we'll say a snake's belly.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. So for the audience, okay, everybody, step right into the 6 o'clock position. Just be there. Remember what that was like. Allow yourself to be there for a minute. That's usually not a place we like to go. But this is for the purposes of working through it and shortening that cycle. And when you've got that, open up your eyes, make eye contact, and then write down your words. Look up when you're done writing down your emotion words and give it a symbol or an image that represents that. We're looking to create an anchor around it and capture whatever anchor words are there too. Okay? And look up when you're done, and at home, hopefully you're doing this too. This is big, big breakthrough stuff. Okay, that looks like it's most everybody. Okay, you doing okay? I want you to physically shake that off for a minute, okay?
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, all right, yeah. Do that. No, come on, give your dog a shake. Okay, awesome. Okay, if you're sitting down there, you can just kind of peel it off and shake it off a little bit. But let's go up to 9 o'clock. Okay, so step back into your memory, go right into 9 p.m. Okay, you see that? That's what 9 p.m. looks like. Okay, what'd you see? Okay, right here, right, is mainly what we saw.
Determination.
That was determination that we just saw, wasn't it? Yeah. So, and we saw it in the mouth as well, right? So determination. Okay, what else?
The seed of hope.
Seed of hope. Everybody see the gesture? What was the gesture? Seed of hope, right? You don't have to go installing anchors. We think we have to be really clever, right? But all we gotta do is just watch people and give stuff back, right? Isn't that clever? It's like the awesome shortcut. I've just made you all NLP ninjas, right? I've literally given you more anchoring training in these 2 minutes than you get in most master practitioner classes. That's true, okay? Okay, so go ahead and about naturalistic anchors anyway. So now, if there was an animal, since we've got a seed, but if there was an animal that represented that, what would it be?
I don't know. I don't really have an animal for that.
You don't have an animal? We could use a seed. That'd be fine. Is that all right?
Yeah.
What kind of seed would the seed be?
Must be something for orchid or something that will blossom.
A blossoming orchid. Okay. Okay, for the audience, everybody, step into the 9 o'clock position, okay? You've just climbed out from that really tough spot. You're just turning the corner, and you've got momentum. You're not quite at the top of the world, but you're back. You're back in the game. You're moving forward, right? Just be there and fully step into that. Fully step into that moment and notice what that's like. Okay? Good. And now, open up your eyes when you've got it, or if they're already open, just go ahead and write it down. Write down what are the emotional states, and then give it a little metaphor. What's the metaphor? Go ahead. Get him a mic. We need a mic back here for the at-home audience. We want to respect everybody.
It's right here.
Okay, if we could pass this back, that'd be awesome.
one of the challenges I'm having is that bottom part. And I don't know if this is just so much personal development or just being around this community or what, but I find myself when I start falling that I flatten that bottom and then end up going back over. And I had the hardest challenge like coming up with a 6 o'clock.
Okay, that's fine. Identify as far down as you can go.
Yeah.
And that's what we want.
Okay.
And then we want to find out what you go across to. You might be cutting out right here at like 5 or something like that.
Okay.
Okay, you might not be too. But for now, let's just pretend that that's what you're doing.
Okay.
Okay, but you're probably going past 3. Is that true?
Maybe a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so you want to identify as far past 3 as you can get, and then you want to notice where you're popping out over here. Is that all right?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Yeah, great question. Thank you. Okay, cool. Are you okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now I want you to go back to 3 o'clock. Okay?
Okay.
Step into 3. Okay? And rewind the movie back until you're to like 12:05. Just the first thing that triggered you. Okay? You got it? What's that? Okay, again, everybody see it? Okay, these all look different, right? And if you're not paying attention to her face while she's doing this, you're in her gestures, you're missing out on the biggest part of this. So
It's fear.
it's fear. Fear of see that? That was a micro expression of fear, right? There it is again.
Fear of failure.
Fear of failure. You're not failing yet, but there's the fear of failure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Give us a metaphor to describe that.
Like standing on marbles.
Okay, so marbles, standing on marbles. Okay. We've got it. Now, did I give you guys a chance to do 9 o'clock yet, or did I skip over that? I did. Okay. Okay, step back into 3 o'clock, everybody. Step right back into 3 o'clock. Mentally rewind the movie until we're back at 12:05 or 12:01. The very first thing that you notice when things were just off, this is why I want a specific context, because there's going to be some thought or some emotion that starts to come up. That's your trigger. There might even be an outside trigger, something you're seeing or hearing, like a cue that cues it up. Seeing somebody's face, hearing a voice, having something happen. And just step into that and notice what's the emotional state right there at the trigger. And when you got it, go ahead and write it down and then make eye contact. Okay? That looks like it's most of you. Raise your hand if you got it done. Okay, that helps me gauge for the at-home audience too. Okay, now first off, again, I want everybody to stand up. We're going to just shake this off real quick, and then we're going to like 5 more minutes, and we'll be through this piece of it. I'm going to show you guys how to move through it. Okay, go ahead and sit on the mic for a second. Okay, we're just going to do a quick dog shake this all off. Okay, that make sure that we don't stain any of that. So everybody, on 3, 2, 1, and. Okay, that's good. Go ahead and sit down. Now, first off, just looking at what you just described, who thinks that this in and of itself is valuable information to see how you do this, right? Just understanding it will start to unwind it in your mind because you'll see where you're at. So basically, here's the thought that I've had with sabotage. So I did not create either of these processes. This one was created by one of my mentors, and just the diagram that visually helps us anchor into the process. And then this next process is an NLP technique. It's a really well-known NLP technique, which is called chaining anchors. And I'm going to do it in a really simple way so that you can do it at home, right? So this is one that I can do it myself. It's pretty easy to do. But here's the real secret to going through the whole process. And that is that when you find yourself first recognizing whatever part of the cycle you recognize, hopefully you learn to recognize it here at Fear of Failure. All you have to remember is that all you have to do is get to the next step. So what people try to do is they try to shortcut the process, and usually at first that's a little much. So instead of trying to get back to powerful and excited from fear of failure, the next place you need to go is panicky and anxious, right? And you go like, I want to make myself panicky and anxious. And the answer is yes, right? Okay, for this process, that's exactly what you want to do, because we're not aiming at eliminating the cycle, we're aiming to shorten it. So the question is like, how many minutes would it take you to get into panicky and anxious? Right? And for most of us, like, we can do it pretty quick if we really try, right? But then once you're panicky and anxious, right, and you're going to this, and this is not the free falling, this is like, and this is the butterflies, right? Then the next place to go is defeated. So the question is, how fast can we get you to defeated? Right? And then once, yeah, right? It's like, could you do this instead of taking hours? Could you get to defeated in minutes? Right? Could you actually just like lay on the floor and just like imagine the world like crushing you for a minute? You know, listen to some really depressing music or something like that until like you feel defeated, right? But then once you let yourself feel it, it's like your neurology goes, okay, check, that box has been checked, right? Now, dun, 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 back to determination, right? And now we go and we associate fully into determination, and then we move you back into feeling powerful. So does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. So all you have to do is just zero in on what is the next step, and then what we do is we teach your neurology, we teach your physiology how to go from one to the next really quick so that it only takes you minutes, maybe even seconds, instead of taking hours, days, months, years. But even if it does take you hours to get between it, but it used to take you days, is that good? Who thinks that's good? Okay? Okay, that's awesome. So what we're going to do is, when I do this at home, now there's a clever way to do this with touch, right? But that's complicated. So we're going to do it easy. So this is like the easy way to do it. So what you do is you take a piece of paper and you rip up little pieces of paper for your home, and you already have yours mapped out. You can do this with us, or you can just watch it so you can see how it goes. That'd probably be easier for you, and then you can do it later. So what we're going to do is we're going to write on each of these what these are. So this first one we're going to call standing on marbles. And we're going to just put fear there so you can remember. Is that all right?
Yes.
The second one is panicky, anxious, and frustrated. So which of those three words describes it the best?
Panicky.
Okay, so we'll call it panicky. I'm probably spelling it wrong, but you forgive me if I spell it wrong?
Yes.
Okay, and we'll call these butterflies. She like barely forgives me, but that's right.
You're forgiven.
Okay, I'm forgiven. Okay, so, see, this is church. We're like forgiving people and stuff, right? Okay, so we're going into the snake's belly.
Yep.
That sounds horrible, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah.
Okay, and this is defeated, the word. That was the word you emphasized the most. And emphasizing comes with gestures or tonality, and we call those marked words, right? So it's where she's marking them out. So defeated. Analog marking is sometimes what that's called. Okay? And we do that to emphasize things in hypnosis, but people also do that with their body language to emphasize, and their voice tone, to emphasize their naturalistic anchors, right? Okay, so the next place is the seed of hope, the blossoming orchid, right? So I'm going to put seed of hope orchid, and hopefully I'll remember that it's blossoming, and we're going to call this determination. And then at 12 o'clock, what we've got is powerful and going for it, right? Is that all right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Striding. Going for it. And the panther. Okay. So does this make sense to everybody what we're doing? And we may want a camera that can kind of capture these on the floor so that people at home can see these. Now, what we're looking for is we're looking for one direction. So there's going to be not the band, but like the process, right? So as we move through this process, we want to move her forward, but we don't want her looping. So that means once we get her here, we're going to repeat this a couple times. But once we get her here, we're going to want to break state, right? And so break state's easy, just a little pattern interrupt, have her step out, shake it off, kind of fully step out of it, and then we can move her back to the beginning. But we don't want to just kind of loop her around, otherwise what we're doing is just reinforcing that there's a cycle, not an exit. Does that make sense? Raise your hand if that makes sense. Okay, cool. So I'm going to hold this, and I may hold it in front of you, but I want you to have your access to your full body. Do you prefer to have me on your right or your left? On this side? Okay. Could I invite you right over here? Would that be okay? Okay. So go ahead and face forward like you're facing your future, and just look forward into an awesome future.
Okay.
Okay. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So just for a moment, go ahead and fully step into that place where you feel like you're standing on marbles. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, right in front of you, see the butterfly. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You see the butterfly?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Step forward into the butterfly, into the panicky feeling. Okay, there we go. And just let yourself feel the panicky feeling. Once you've got it, step forward into the snake's belly, defeated. Fully defeated. Let yourself go there fully and completely. And then look forward and see the seed of hope. Okay, and step forward into the blossoming orchid of determination. Okay, you see that? And then one more step forward. We're really close to D here, but just step forward into the panther of powerful determination. Or of powerful feelings, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, and just be there.
Yeah.
10 times more powerful. There you go. That's right. Step into it fully, girl. You got it. Okay? And then just see yourself stepping boldly into an amazing future. How does that feel?
Stronger than I've ever been before.
That's right. Boldly going where no woman has gone before. Okay, all right, good. You got it?
Yeah.
Go ahead and step off for a minute and just kind of shake that off for a second. So, now, where are you from again? Remind me.
Originally?
Oh,
I'm from here, Florida.
Oh, that's right. You're from Florida.
Yeah.
Like what part of Florida?
Kissimmee.
Kissimmee. It's like kiss me, kind of. Kind of. So, like, how far away is it?
I don't really know. I just get in the car when he says get in the car.
Okay, that's a good plan. All right, come on back over here. All right.
If only it were true.
Yeah. Okay, now. Okay, just remember being in that place, standing on marbles. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then step into it. Okay, now see the butterflies immediately. Step into the butterflies. Okay, as soon as you're there, see the snake's belly, and step into it. Okay, there you are. Now just look forward and see the seed of the blossoming orchid. There you go, and step into it. All right, just be there. The seed of hope. That's right, already blossoming. And then one powerful striding step forward into the panther of going for it. And feel yourself fully going for it. There you go. Yes.
Yes.
Say it again. Yes. All right. Good. And then just see that continuing out into your future. Carrying that determination with you. The panther prowling to find her prey. Okay.
Yep.
You got it? Okay, step off. Okay, and we want to cycle through this a couple times. We're only going to cycle through it probably 3 times just for the demonstration. But literally, I'm going to send her back to her room tonight with these things. And I'm going to give her the homework of like cycling through it a couple more times. Okay, and then in a minute, we're going to test it and see what happens as she thinks about it. Ideally, if we have the states linked strongly enough, she'll travel through them without even trying. Right? You'll kind of watch her go. Now, sometimes the states in the middle collapse into the center, and then she'll just end up right at the end, and that's fine too. And that may be some of what Chad's ended up doing to himself just through training, right? That's fine. Okay, so that was a good pattern interrupt break state. Okay, you ready? One more time through. Okay, pop on back around.
Back to the marbles.
Back to the marbles. Okay, and let yourself be there. But immediately when you see it, step into the butterflies. Okay, and immediately see the snake's belly, and then immediately the seed of hope. See, it's already there. Go ahead and step into it. And then finally, one powerful step into the panther. Yes! Say it again. Yes!
Yes!
Yeah, come on, give me some oomph. Yes! Yes!
Yes!
Yes!
Yes!
Yes! All right. And now look at the panther prowling into your future. Woohoo! How do you feel about that?
Awesome.
Okay, now let's step back. Just shake it all off. Not back here, but tell me, just kind of, let's kick these off to the side. We're kicking your spatial anchors out of their place. We're washing the area. Hang on, let me power wash it. This area's all clean now. Okay. So tell me, I mean, this sabotage cycle's hit you before.
Sure.
Okay, so just think about the next time you might run into this. Okay, and
Well, I know the next time it's inevitable.
it's inevitable, right? And there you are on the marbles, right? The marbles of fear. Yeah. What's that like?
Oh, it's kind of sucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long does it take you to get out of it?
Before or now?
No, just think through
Now?
it. Yeah.
I mean, what is that? About 45 seconds?
About 45 seconds?
Yeah.
Run through it in your head and see if you can do it. Now, it's not automatically linked at this point. Okay? That was our sneaky test. So she went into the marbles. She didn't come out of it. That doesn't mean that it didn't work. It means that she's not done. She needs to keep on wiring this through until she goes in the marbles and she's out. And that's how fast we want it to happen, right? And that's just repetition. Okay? That's just repetition of the chain. So go ahead and just run through it in your mind to see how fast can you get through each state. Just feel yourself running through each state.
Not fast.
Not fast. Okay. That look congruent?
That's fast.
Yeah. That looked pretty good. I want you to do it one more time. Shake it off. Step out of it. Physically step out of that. Okay? Okay. Step into the marbles. That was pretty quick, right? You see it that time? Okay, now that's starting to happen automatically. I don't think we're done yet, though. So your homework tonight, before you go to bed, is to run through this at least another 3 times.
Okay.
Okay? Is that all right?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's give her a big round of applause. Thank you. You can take a seat. Yeah, let's help you gather these up here. Okay, you'll have to order them here in a minute.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So raise your hand if you think you can do this on your own. Okay? Awesome. Okay, raise your hand if you're like, I don't know what the hell you just did. Okay, we got one. You, sir, in the back. No. Okay, that's awesome. So now, here's the question. Rather than just thinking about it, for those of you that have a sabotage cycle that's real, come on, be honest. Raise your hand if you got one. Okay? And if you're at home, right, here's the question. Will you do this? Yeah. When? I want a time frame. Okay? When will you like start and actually like make your map and run yourself through the cycle of going through? Who's willing to do it like tonight? Okay? Raise your hand if you're willing to at least map it out and do it once. Okay, raise your hand. Okay? Who's willing to do it before the end of the weekend? Okay, before the end of the weekend. Great. At home, I want you to write in the chat what day you're going to do this. And don't let more than 48 hours go past. It is your time to claim your seat here at the next mastermind. And that will only happen when you blast through your sabotage cycle. Now, there's other stuff I can teach you, but for now, that's enough. We want to bring Dave up. We're going to do one more sales video. So, in preparation for that, let's go ahead and we're going to do just a real fast one, not even 10 seconds, just a burst of applause. Okay, so everybody put your stuff down, get on the edge of your seat, and let's see, is Dave around here somewhere? Yeah. Okay. Somebody go poke Dave and tell him it's time for him to come up. And, okay, on 3, 2, 1, and woo! All right, let's bring it up. Let's bring Dave up. Come on, Dave.
What time is it? Like 11?
Yeah, it's like only 11. We're doing great. It's not even like 1:30 in the morning yet or anything.
Into more crazy stories. No, I'm joking. We've had enough of those. I didn't tell you the really weird one. No, all right. So we can keep making sales videos. Do some coaching. We got a lot of videos to make, so we can focus on that. Did you guys get value from doing that with me? Yes. Right, you see how you can make your own videos better too, right? I actually think that'll work like crazy, truthfully. That's short. That was like 15 minutes. Under 15 minutes, maybe 12 minutes, right, that thing. Huh? Yeah, I was running around like a crazy person, you know. All this Kung Fu training, I can move faster now. And talk faster. And so, isn't that awesome, that stuff? You know, I've seen him do some real amazing stuff with people. Me too. You know, he's really good. So I hope you guys are getting value from that. So the next one we got in our series. Do you guys want to do the top producer formula video? Yeah. Do you want to brainstorm? Okay, let's brainstorm again. So I'm going to erase this amazing planet thing here. I almost want to just sell these videos for like another $5,000. I'm joking. No. All right, so we have top producer formula video. We'll just say TPF. The cost is $500. Okay. And the goal of the video is to get as many people as possible to buy this on the spot or being re-exposed to it, right? Because remember, with these videos, what happens is people are going to see them in the funnel, but then they're also, if they work better than the other ones, they'll also see them if they just click on those tabs. You know what I mean? Because there's no sense in making a million variations of everything if it's working. So what should be our conversion goal here? I'm getting distracted by this. Running around like crazy. Okay, what should be our conversion goal? I think that we should aim for like half of the people that buy the inner circle to buy this. Yeah. Which is ridiculous, but you know, let's go for it, right? Because in our peak, and I'll tell you guys what our numbers were at our peak of growth. Now, part of this numbers was from the funnel, but part of it was actually from the frenzy of the whole community working together and the size of it, right? We had about 25%, maybe 22 to 25% of people buying the inner circle. Some teams it was way higher, but overall across all of Empower Network, right, that's what it was. So the leaders, I had like 80% for a while, right? I mean, that many people were buying the inner circle. Lauren's had like 50%. And then I had about 30 to 40% buying the top producer formula, right? And then out of those, it was like 8 and 10 were buying the team building, which was the 15K formula at the time, right? And then I had like maybe a third of those to half of those buying all in. And across the community, that was actually pretty. That was pretty common across the community, where people were getting close to a third into the inner circle, 30, 40% of those into top producer, 80% of those into the 15K formula, which is the team building formula, and then maybe a third to half of those into the mass influence formula, which works out to be a lot more than we've been doing for the last year or two, right? And so we should have a high goal. So let's talk about how to sell the top producer formula, right? I'm just going to number this from 1 to 12, and we'll go through each thing here really quick. Brainstorm, and then we'll make a video, and then we got drinks and stuff in here, and water for our Mormon friends. They don't drink, and anybody else that doesn't drink, I don't drink either. So how are we going to capture attention differently than the last one? Brainstorm.
What if you came from outside, coming in? What if we all jumped in the pool? Like, coming in on action. Walking in the door.
Downstairs.
Can anybody do backflips down the stairs? No, I was just joking. Okay, so come from outside of the mansion. What else we got?
Someone could break a board.
Oh, we should pass this around.
Oh yeah, we could break a board.
Somebody could break a board.
Jump in the pool.
Okay, so break a board. That's a good idea.
We all jump in the pool.
Y'all jump in the pool fully clothed, starting with Kevin Connect, and after he does it, we may do it too. Alternatively, we could all pick Kevin up and throw him in the pool.
Walk on fire.
Yeah. What else? What else we got? Ideas? Collaborative brainstorming, guys. What else? Anything? We got breaking a board. I mean, do we have boards left?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a stack out there.
There's a stack out there. Anybody want to try to break 2?
No.
By the way, we were talking about this last night. That's that synergy law where you put 2 together, it's actually more than double the force. When people who do that professionally break those, they put spacers in it.
Yeah.
Right? There's very few people that can actually stack things back to back like that and actually break them. And you don't want to mess with those people. But it's actually quite hard because it doesn't take double the force, it takes a lot more. Because it creates synergy between the 2 boards. Power of working together, right? Love metaphors.
On this one and then firewalk on the next one.
Right.
You know, it's the beginning.
And rather than how they were doing the firewalk, let's just put coals everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like with no water or anything. I don't know if that helped their firewalk.
Use some of the footage. Could you just use some of the footage that we already did? On when we do the next video, just slice it in there as B-roll.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry, we're all getting tired.
Sorry, guys. I forgot. Sorry, people at home.
Okay, so we got board break,
Yeah. I like that.
fire walk.
Yeah.
Okay, throwing Kevin in the pool. I like throwing that Kevin in the pool, personally.
We could actually skip the pool and just go to dinner.
All right. Any other ideas? Anybody? We can come back to this in a minute. I'm just seeing if there's any other crazy ideas. You never know what somebody's going to come up with. In Portugal, if they don't buy, they do a pattern interrupt by breaking the arm. I'm joking. He's like, that's how we do it back home. Yeah. Oh, I'm joking. Anyway, so that's weird. Any other ideas? Thoughts? Pattern interrupty stuff? Firewalk. We can use the firewalk. Right.
Have a couple of diamonds laying in bed with me. Pull the sheets with the blankets down.
Okay, how can we relate the firewalk to the top producer formula? Here, let's.
If you want to overcome your recruiting challenges, you have to break through these things, and this product will help you do that. I don't know.
Would you rather walk through the fire or just get around it?
Yeah.
That'd actually be funny. Be like, after we did that, I thought that it was better if we just walked around the fire. Anything else?
We don't feel the recruiting burn.
We don't feel the recruiting burn? Yeah. Have you been burned by your lack of selling? Okay, what else? Okay, give him the microphone.
Does it have to be something that we have to film here, or like in my mind, top producer is like something cool, like it's top achievers, right? So I like a private jet, like a B-roll, that kind of thing, which we don't have here. We have a nice house.
Okay, so we'll all pretend somebody in here has a jet.
Yep.
Hire an actor. Let's hire an actor. I'm joking.
Or we could have you walk in a white suit,
That's what
right?
they do on ClickBank,
Yeah.
right? ClickBank. You ever click on those disclosures and it's like, for the sake of the fact that we've not had anybody join yet, we hired actors to represent this. Have you ever read those testimonials, those disclaimers on ClickBank stuff? Right, they say it right there on the page, that they're actors and that these are fake stories to represent what could possibly happen. That's not illegal. Any other ideas? Back here?
Yes, like you are a top producer, so you should be in the video like you first talking, like can be by the pool, and then you have 2 people, and then you keep talking, and then 4 people, and then more, and then all of us. So they can see that they can produce and have a lot of people. Something like that.
I just thought of a weird idea. I don't know if this is sort of like doing a testimonial, but like we have a lot of people in here that just recruit ridiculous amounts of people. Like it really is unrelatable. Like this whole 15 to 20 people a day thing. That like if a traditional networker hears that, their whole brain will just turn off because it's unbelievable to them. That's like more people than they could prospect in 3 days. You know what I mean? So go on. Go with him first, it's fine.
What if we were like overlooking his email account and showing the, basically commissions coming in for a day? Like just looking at Michael Martin's like 15 sales in a day. Like how would you and actually showing that happen? I don't know.
Like if we put his computer right there and we're like, go ahead, Michael, hit refresh.
Yeah. And just showing the days that they come in.
Christy Walker first here.
Okay, would the goal of this be to tap into the conversation that the prospect is having at that time, or is it to project to them what they want? Because that would be what they want. But I'm thinking the person that's coming through this is experiencing something. And so to relate that, what if there was like a role play of like a Walmart situation, right? So you walk up to someone and you're trying to pitch them, and the person's giving you all this feedback, and whatever that energy is, maybe they can connect with, oh yeah, I've been there, or I've done that, and how now you don't have to do that. Top producers don't do that.
But if I walk into Walmart, can I wear my Amazing MLM Guy t-shirt?
Why not?
I'm not even afraid of security. Doesn't matter if they throw me out. Walmart's for cheapos.
Pass
it to Denise, she's right there.
So, top producer formula, I don't know why, but when Jaime was talking, I thought it's like something like people want to become a top producer. So why don't, it's almost like a trail of secrets. Like he's telling you, no. He's telling Paul something, Paul tells Mike, Mike tells Tracy, then Tracy comes to you. But in order for us to hear what that information is, we have to be inside of top producer formula. But you tell them that in the beginning, and then at the end of the video, you're like, don't forget that secret that I was going to tell you. You'll know exactly what that is once you're inside.
I'm not quite sure I understand this idea.
Okay, so I tell you a secret, and then go tell her the secret.
Right.
Go,
We're passing
go.
Chinese whispers.
Okay, and then in order for them to reveal said secret, they have to buy in.
Okay, so
but you don't tell them that. So in the beginning, they just see the secret. It's not till they get to the end that they know that, oh, you'll be told what the secret is of the top producer formula once you're inside. I don't know, maybe I'm too sneaky.
But now, after we do that, can we throw Kevin in the pool?
I'm down.
All right. Any other back here? I think this is fun. You know, you never know what crazy idea will come out that will work really well.
My highest video.
When I think of, is it on? Yes. When I think of top producer formula, for some reason, the little guy, the Monopoly guy, comes to mind with the top hat, and that's how you win the game, basically, obviously, is you have the most money and you have the most property and you are the guy. It's like kind of like Chad's idea where you're looking over his shoulder and you're seeing how much he made, but if you have somebody, and it doesn't matter who, have that hat on their head when they're looking at it, it's almost like they've got the monopoly on it without you having to say anything, and it doesn't infringe on any copyright laws.
That is a very strange idea. Maybe. What other strange ideas do we got? Let's continue. It's interesting. A good idea. All right. What else?
One of the highest like watch through videos that I have is of me opening a box, and it's something that we could find around here. But perhaps you're speaking through that.
Does the box have commissions in it?
Duh. So you're opening said box, but inside boxes, you know, the top producer formula or whatever information you want to share in it, but you're unpacking it, forcing them to watch it the entire time, and then you cut the screen to a whole different shot.
Okay, opening a box. Okay. Interesting. We'll take two more and then we'll continue on because, you know, we could use any sort of random number of things. I just want to see what you guys come up with.
I like the idea of like a cheerleader style pyramid where everyone gets on top, and it's like the top producer gets on top, and we all help each other out.
Illustrate a pyramid.
So like, but every producer helps each other get to the top. Every producer helps each other get to the top.
And we all give them $1. We may be able to place a phone call and arrange this, my friend. If you all have good tipping money. Okay, so any other fascinating ideas? I am prepared to do this. That is very pattern interrupting. The men might be buying more than some of the women would from that particular video. Anybody else? Back here? You're raising your hand? Okay. All right, so let's go to the next step. So we're going to get their attention in some way that relates. All right. Rapport, we've kind of already got rapport in that process. We've got a big room of people. You know what I think we should do, actually, is if we go to rapport, credibility, and this will kind of be where we insert social proof, too, is if there's a lot of people that recruit like a whole bunch of people here that is just ridiculous to, if you've never heard it, it's ridiculous. And if you only hear one person, it's like, oh yeah, that one guy did it. But it's like, how many people you sponsor a month?
I don't even know. I think we're at 114 this week, 7 days.
Yeah, 114 every 7 days. How many people you sponsor?
Well, the thing with me is before Empower, I've never sponsored more than 30 ever in a company.
Well, everybody's like that. Like, what was the most you'd ever sponsored in a month before Empower?
They weren't
Like 2 or 3? You'd sponsored 30 ever? Now you're 1,800. How many people you sponsor last month or last year?
I don't know.
He lost count.
250.
200.
I know like 10 to 20 a month.
Yeah, 10 to 20 a month, not that many, right? The person's like,
Well, compared to 25 a day, you know what I mean?
Got cramp. Got this weird cramp in my chin when I did that. I did that whole like this. You ever get this muscle cramp like right there?
It's not good.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good. Doesn't happen to women that don't make very strange faces, probably. You're like, no, David, I'm careful with my face. I smile and look pretty. Thank you very much. Right? The men are like, yeah. All right, so that's a testosterone thing that we, yeah. That and growing very large beards. That beard is so awesome. So we got lots of. We'll use just sponsoring stories. Okay. So what is the core problem if we are going to target a problem here? What's the core problem that people have is they're struggling to recruit and to sell, and they're struggling to upsell people, right? And so it's a common thing, like for example, in Empower Network, like, what's your average value per customer, Mike?
This last year, it's about $1,000.
$1,000. And it's like every time I get a $7 customer, it's like worth $1,000.
The full, since I've been in, it's around $500-600 total.
Yeah, right. So maximize your profits per customer. So it's sponsoring and maximizing profits. Okay. Those are the core benefits and the core problems that they have, right? What else? What else is a real benefit for the top producer formula to people?
The belief change module is really valuable.
The belief change module?
I don't know if that would be as perceived though.
Yeah, they have to go through that. Yeah.
Also the sequencing, like people can know what to do, but they don't know what order to do it in, and so it creates a problem.
Right. The sequencing.
This is the top.
Yeah, this is the top producer. So this target a problem. They can't. This is really these two. They can't sponsor and they don't know how to maximize their value per customer. So we teach you how to do these two things really effectively, right?
Let's do that to maximize. Let's say that the team building for.
Huh?
Focus on sponsoring, maximizing profit. Save that for team building formula.
Maybe save that for that. So just say this is going to be focused on helping you to recruit. Okay, we could do that. That's a good idea. Okay. So focus on sponsoring, recruiting. Okay. What else?
So more on that sponsoring angle.
Pass him the thing, somebody. We just need to remember to do this because we're all getting tired, I think.
Getting tired,
This will be an interesting video.
More on that sponsoring angle.
As we're all going into a trance. I make money while I'm sleeping.
Did that last night.
Huh?
Did that last night.
I'm going to open another bottle of water.
No rejection. That was the one I wasn't experiencing. No
rejection?
Yeah.
You were getting rejected.
Before I started basically selling a product and talking to customers, which is what I learned from the top producer, I was going through rejection. I was talking to people and they were telling me no.
Okay, so experiencing no sponsoring and rejection. Okay. How to not get rejected and sponsor almost everyone you talk to. Right? It's a core benefit. What else?
More leveraging systems so that you increase your efficiency and then you're enhancing what you're doing.
Okay, so leveraging systems. How to leverage systems to recruit more.
Going
That's
digital.
more of a team building formula thing, but it does fit there too.
Digital systems.
Digital systems. Okay. What else?
The not chasing friends and family.
No chasing friends and family. No chasing prospects, period, right?
Yep.
Chasing friends, family, people at church. Basically chasing, right? Okay, so let's, over here.